Welcome back, everyone here at Bronx Talks. Today, we got a very special video for you guys. We are going to be going over 3 decisions the Yankees must make before the playoffs. Obviously, the postseason is approaching soon. Yanks got that first round bye, but by the time you're watching this, the Yanks probably got like 3 games left to wrap it up there in Texas. But we have 3 decisions they got to make, and they have some tough decisions they're going to have to make. We're going to talk about it and give us your take on it in the comments. So, Christian, would you like to start off?
Sure. The first decision that the Yankees have to make is should Hickey get more playing time in the playoffs? Now, before we go any further, we need to establish Jose Trevino is the starting catcher.
Yep.
He was an all-star. He's the starting catcher. We're not saying Higgy over Trevino. It's Trevino, game one. He's the catcher. But Higgy's been hitting really well, and Trevino not so much. Trevino's hitting 164 and has WRC plus of 2 since September 1st, and Higgy is hitting 326 with a 135 WRC plus since then. And overall, the numbers on the year are starting to balance out. Like the OPS plus is within 10 points for the two. The argument for Trevino is he is a much better framer. I think pitchers in general, Yankees pitchers, I know Cole especially, their stats are better when throwing to Trevino. But we're just kind of arguing maybe you need more offense. Another possible lane is you're going to have Matt Carpenter on the bench most likely for the ALDS. You're going to be looking to get him a pinch hit appearance every game. And I think that's why it's so pivotal now that both of our catchers are productive and we're confident with them. Because I think what we're going to see a lot in these ALDS games are whether it's Trevino or Higgy starting, they get pinch hit for in the 6th or 7th if it's a big spot, and then you have the other guy fill in. But it's very important that Gashioka is starting to get going, and I think we might see a little bit more of him. But
Christian, yeah, let me just say in general, a lot of these great, Yankees teams, championship Yankee teams have really had obviously a starter, a really good starting catcher, and, a backup catcher who's also very, very productive. You look back in the day, you had Posada and Girardi. Obviously, in '96, Girardi picked up that massive triple against the Braves in the World Series. Go fast forward ahead to 2009. You had Jorge Posada and Jose Molina, and Jose Molina actually started a game in the World Series over Jorge Posada. So, it's really good that the Yankees have 2 really good catchers. First off, Trevino is an all-star. Trevino is one of the best catchers in Major League Baseball. The pitchers absolutely love him. And in the postseason, Christian, you know this, pitching is super, super important. And I'm going to want my catcher and pitcher to be in sync on the mound, right? And I have so much confidence in Trevino, and especially him defensively, could save you a game. So Trevino is the starter. But Higgy has really, really swung the bat very, very well. And it begs the question, should Higgy maybe get a start? Or should, Higgy be, pitch hitting off the bench? And, this is a good problem for the Yankees because they have a lot more flexibility here, a lot more lanes and avenues, like you mentioned, Christian. And I'm confident in Jose Trevino. Trevino knows he's not going out there to, bat 330 and hit a home run every time he's up. He's out there to play excellent defense, do his job, and be serviceable and, productive with the bat. And also, Trevino, I know he's kind of hasn't hit the best over the last month, Christian, but this guy's had a lot of clutch hits this year for the Yankees. I think he has 2 walk-off hits. He's came through in the clutch a lot for the Yankees. And that is something you are going to need in the playoffs. You are going to need clutch hitting. But should Higgy get some more playing time in the playoffs? That's for you to decide. That's for the Yankees to decide. But I definitely think it's a question the Yankees should ask themselves.
100%. The next thing we have is should Peraza be on the postseason roster? Ryan, I'm going to let you start this one off because I think my
Okay.
opinion is going to be a little different.
Okay, I appreciate it. Um, I first of all, do I think Peraza should be on the postseason roster? Yes. Is he my number one choice to be on it over some other guys? Maybe not. I don't really know those other guys off the top of my head. But do I think Peraza should be on the postseason roster? Yes. I think he's deserved it. I think he's earned it. I think he's batting like 333 on the year. He's the best defensive shortstop they have in their system. And you need to tighten your defense up for the playoffs. Obviously, and the Yankees got a very good defense. A really solid one, and adding Peraza in there would just strengthen it. Whether Peraza comes in there as a defensive replacement, whether he comes off the bench to pitch hit, or whether he still, pitch hit comes off the bench to pitch run. A lot of different avenues with Oswald Peraza. He could pitch hit, he could pitch run, he could come in as a defensive replacement. So many things you can do with Oswald Peraza. Not saying necessarily he needs to start. I'm 100% confident that IKF is their starting shortstop, and he has picked it up with the bat as well. In September, he's really found an offensive groove. So I think IKF is going to be the starter, but Peraza does give you a ton of different avenues and lanes coming off the bench, and he could even start too. In some games, I would be confident in that as well. So I think, having Peraza on the postseason roster could definitely be a big help for this team. And it's something I would not mind at all. And I'd actually like it.
Yeah, I mean, my opinion is just a cold, hard no. Does he deserve it? 100%. But they're not going to play him at shortstop. If I was the manager, he would be my starting shortstop in the playoffs. He's done everything you could possibly do. He has almost an 800 OPS. He's played great defense since getting called up, but he's not going to be the shortstop. It's IKF. That's already locked in. They've already established that. And then, why are you going to have him then on the team? Is he going to be the pinch runner? No, that's Tilo. Is he going to pinch hit? No, they're not going to have this kid pinch hit in a big spot. Or are they going to have him come in as a defensive replacement? No, they already think IKF is like one of the best defenders according to their metrics. I'm not saying it's wrong, but there would be no lane for him. So there's no point in having him on the postseason roster. They would struggle to get him in the game, so don't waste it on him. Do what they did with Jeter, have him in the dugout, let him take the experience, but there's no point in having him on it. And
my argument, Christian, is over a guy like Tilo is. Tilo's not going to pitch hit. He's strictly going to be a pitch runner in the playoffs. And he's probably he is basically one of the fastest guys in the league, one of the best base stealers in the league, in my personal opinion. But that's basically all he can really do. I mean, they're not going to put him in the outfield necessarily. I mean, he's not going to start. He's not going to pitch hit. So the thing with Peraza is he might not be as good of a base stealer as Tim LeCastro, but Peraza's a pretty good base stealer himself, and he could open you up more things to do with the bat and obviously with his glove. And, I understand what you're saying it could be really tough to get him in certain situations, but it would be nice to have that depth, if need be. Okay, if an injury happened in a game, you could, maneuver it very well, especially with Cabrera could come in the infield. I'm just saying Peraza adds more things to do. That's why I didn't say, I would like if he was on the postseason roster, but it's not like for me, I'm not sitting here banging my hand on the table saying Oswald Peraza needs to be on the postseason roster. That's not where I'm at. If it's Tim LeCastro, that's great. If it's Oswald Peraza, I'm fine with that as well. That's also great. But this is another decision the Yankees have to make, and that's just my take on it.
Yeah, well, if they didn't have Oswaldo Cabrera, then I would say, yeah, this guy's got to be on the roster, or else you're going to have Marwin as your backup shortstop. But you have a backup shortstop, Oswaldo Cabrera, and a really good one. Like, I think Oswaldo Cabrera would end up at shortstop before Peraza. I just don't see a scenario where he helps them.
Yeah.
And again, he's done everything right. This isn't his fault, but it's kind of how the Yankees have handled them and how their roster is kind of aligned this year. But the next thing and the final decision that the Yankees have to make is what are they going to do with the Aroldis Chapman? Talks of DFAing him. Is he going to be on the postseason roster? I think so, because you have Britton, who's done for the year. You don't really have any lefties in your bullpen. You have Wandy Peralta, who I guess you can rely on. Hopefully he's back and healthy for the ALDS, but they don't have anyone else. You have Lucas Luetge, but he's not going to be pitching in high leverage spots. So they don't have another lefty that can get outs in big moments. I guess you have Scott Effross, who has reverse splits, but you really need true lefties. And that's why I think Aroldis Chapman's going to be on the playoff roster and actually pitching in big spots. I don't think he'll be closing games, but I really see Aroldis Chapman getting a few big playoff appearances, and I hate it so much.
I'm trying to think where I should start this one off. I mean, the bottom line is with Chapman, he's gotten a ton of chances this year. He's gotten a ton of chances this year. He's gotten a ton of chances last year. He's gotten a ton of chances the year before that. Even when Chapman was good, even when he was our closer, even when he was the closer for the Chicago Cubs, and albeit I know he pitched well in that postseason for the Cubs, but in the most important game, he gave up the most important home run. Obviously, the Cubs came back. They won the game. He blew it for the Yankees in 2019. Gave up a walk-off home run to Altuve. We were eliminated. The following year, in 2020, a guy that he may or may not have thrown a ball at his head, he lets the same guy, Mike Brasso, hit a go-ahead home run in the bottom of the eighth, and we lose the game. Okay, so even when he was at his best, he seems to fail in these big situations, in these super important games in the playoff. That's number one. Now you're adding that on to a guy who's not been great at all this year. He just hasn't been good, and you never know what he's going to be like on the mound. You have no idea. Like, some games he just comes out, he looks fine, and the next he can't throw a strike. And in the playoffs, I don't care if he's a lefty. I don't care if he's a righty. I don't care if he's ambidextrous. He can't pitch in the playoffs, and I don't want him on the roster.